another campaign diary for our Dungeons and Dragons game, the Troll Skull Club. Sorry, sounds like my throat is a little robotic-y, a little interesting today, so I apologize for that. But our intrepid band of adventurers known as the Troll Skull Club have been on a journey to the Underdark to try and find some information about the missing family of one of the party members, Quick, our tiefling sorcerer cleric. Her family's been missing for about 5 years, and she's finally gotten some intel about what possibly might have happened to them during that time period. So our party has been going into this cavernous system underneath the Misty Forest, and they've been traveling for days now. They stumbled upon a group of Duergar who were transporting a caravan of slaves, transporting a caravan of slaves. The party killed these Duergar, and that is where we are picking up this session. There's some interesting loot and things to be found, is obvious. They searched around, they found this brass bottle with a stopper on it. It's like this brass bottle with flames reaching up the sides of it. They found a blue, kind of a sapphire gem, and they also found what seemed to be a silver kind of horn, like a Viking, a calling horn. While some of our party were looting, the other party members were speaking to some of these people. They met a white dragonborn by the name of Mara, who seems to have been this wizard who traveled to the city of Emberfell in the Underdark to try and learn some more, to try to see if they could get access to some of the scrolls and some of the texts that this great city has under their watch. And while Mara was at Emberfell, this is about 2 years ago, the Duergar attacked and took over the city, killing the ruling household that was in charge of the city, leaving only one member of that household alive, a young girl by the name of Lydra. Lydra, who was also one of the slaves that was in that caravan, who is hell-bent on vengeance and revenge on these Duergar for killing her family. So after some resting and relaxation, one of our party members, Bryn, decided to open up the brass bottle to just pop open the stopper and see what happened. And they... that's partly my fault because I put that in front of the players, not knowing, assuming that they would wait a little bit before they opened it. But they decided to open it, and so we rolled a D100 because that was an Afridi bottle. And so one of the options is that the Afridi will grant them a wish. One of the options is that the Afridi will disappear. And the third option is that the Afridi will fight for 5 rounds. And so that's what happened, is that after this encounter with the Duergar, they immediately were jumped into an encounter with an Afridi. And actually, I was very surprised. I assumed that I was basically just going to, as the DM, have to run out the clock to the 5 rounds, and then the Afridi's going to leave. No, they killed this Afridi. They completely murdered the Afridi, and I was not prepared for that at all. I wasn't prepared for the encounter in the first place, really, to happen that quickly, but also the fact that they were able to kill this Afridi, I was very surprised by. But I think it was a combination. They did get some natural 20s in there, and this Afridi was not performing at an optimal state, because obviously this Afridi is magically forced to combat these creatures for 5 rounds. Like, it is not, it's not a Afridi that's under its own full faculties, so it wasn't acting in the most optimal way. It was really just doing damage and not really utilizing some of its other abilities. So that is partly part of the reason probably why they're able to kill the Afridi, but also they had some really lucky rolls, some great natural 20s, and they're also just smart in their placement and how they had people and who was doing what. So they were able to kill that Afridi, and then they were like, okay, we need to figure out what we're doing. And that's when Mara brings up a place called Sanctuary, which seems to be this tavern in the Underdark. But it's like, as my players said when I started describing it, the room of requirement for Harry Potter, where it's this magical place that shows up to people who need it, and is a place where no harm can be done. So players traveled some, and they eventually found their way to Sanctuary, which is this kind of this big tavern. There seems to be run by a half-orc gentleman by the name of Mustang, who is kind of like this lounge singer character. Um, he invites people to come to the stage and perform, and as they're performing, he's studying them a lot, and then having conversations with them to the side. It seems that he has the ability to read people's auras, and to be able to read, to give people what they need and give people direction. So Quick, who's been spearheading this journey to find her family, goes up on stage and performs a song from Hadestown, the musical, which is very apt actually for the situation that they're in. And Mustang informs her that they need to head to the city of Emberfell. They need to head to this city, because this basically Emberfell has become the head of the center of the Dorgar market, of this like trade and black market area. It's been there's this giant auction house that all the important people in the Underdark, all the powerful people in Underdark, all the people with the influence in the Underdark go to trade, to sell magic items, to buy slaves, to trade and barter anything is at this auction house. And it turns out Mara and Lydra, the white dragonborn and the drow girl that they rescued, are also going to be heading that direction, because Lydra wants to get revenge on the Dorgar who took over the city of Emberfell and take back what is rightfully hers. The other players throughout the course of the night also decide to give some performances. Harvey Birdman Whoosh, our Aarakocra rogue, decides to sing a song from 13 Things I Hate About You. And Mustang gives his reading and tells him that he needs to be careful about the types of deals he makes, which could be in regards to the deal with Asmodeus that he made of the 100 souls that he's supposed to deliver to the 9 hells. Bryn gives a little bit of a performance, reading some like self-help and some like wisdom sayings, and Mustang doesn't actually give Bryn a reading. Mustang just tells Bryn that when the adults are talking, Mustang decides to be quiet, which is a weird and confusing statement to make. Later on, they head to sleep, and Bryn has this dream of standing on an ocean, of this black void, standing on the top of this ocean, and underneath the ocean water are these hands that are reaching and trying to break the water, but they're not able to. The hands are visible, but then everything else underneath is just blackness. And so it's just a sea of hands that are trying to break the top of this water. Moonlight shines down, and the visage of Selûne, Bryn's patron, appears and basically tells Bryn that they are doing good work and that they're on the right path, that bringing light to those who have not seen it in such a long time, bringing light to those who are imprisoned, is seems to be at least the path and the goal, the direction they are taking. And it was just a really nice moment for, I think, Bryn to have some kind of clear direction and kind of a goal, but also to kind of tie in a little bit of these things. Because as much as this is a story about Quick, and this is, about finding her family, it's also about Bryn, and it's also about Harvey. And so finding those kind of character threads and how they can tie in together, and to help elevate the story from multiple points of view, I think is really interesting and important. And basically that was the end of the session, was the dream, and they now have a goal. They now have a direction. Head to the city of Emberfell and head to this black market auction. It's going to be very interesting. There are a lot of different paths and pathways to take to get to Emberfell. There's through the Dorgar mining camps, which are going to be heavily guarded, but are going to be more of a straight shot to the city. There are kind of a back way, which is going to be through these molten rivers and molten lakes. So obviously, there's going to be the danger there if they decide to take that route of molten, getting around and not hurting yourself through these molten rivers. And then there's a third option, which is going to be through the lair of the followers of Loth, the spider god, who has taken her nest in the Underdark. There's that's also a direction. It's also a spooky, scary one. Talking to the players, it seems like they do want to go towards Dorgar mining camps, which makes sense because obviously they have this need and this feeling to save the people who've been enslaved and imprisoned by the Dorgar. 100% makes sense. But that is going to be, they're going to be very, very smart because this is obviously a mining camp. There's going to be mining machines, Dorgar war machines, and Dorgar everywhere, policing and following, and their eyes are everywhere. They're not going to be able to just run in and go, all right, pow pow, firebolt, firebolt, guiding bolt the whole situation. They're really going to have to be smart and stealthy and use all of their tools available. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. I love the Underdark, and I love my own version doing little different things with it. So I'm very excited to see them. I don't think we're going to get the Emberfell next session. I don't think we're going to get the Emberfell probably the session after that. It depends on how this next session goes with the Dorgar mining camp, because that is a lot of baddies to get through and a lot of people to save. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do. And then I can't wait to get to the city of Emberfell, because that's just going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be different because it is an occupied city. It's a city occupied by Dorgar, and so they're going to be very smart in how they do what they're doing, and they're also going to decide, are they going to help this girl reclaim her birthright, reclaim her family's home, or are they going to continue on with their journey in finding out what happened to Quick's family? It'll be interesting to see, and I'm very excited to see it happen. My players keep on constantly surprising me with these combat encounters, especially when they killed that Ifriti, because I did not think they were prepared for that. So I've been doing some work on the big bad villain of this campaign, or of this story. I've already got, I think, a good idea, and I've kind of been thinking about how the characters approach combat and their abilities, and so trying to build up a villain who kind of complements those abilities and what they do, and also maybe has something to combat them. So I'm very excited. I'm very much enjoying the story arc, and I enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. It's a lot of fun. It's really great. So I think we're gonna be playing again tomorrow, and hopefully I'll get another campaign diary up soon after that. But I'll see y'all later.